Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is absolutely crucial for organizational security and duty of care, pulling straight from the methodology of Dsrm risk and crisis management consultants. Right off the bat, we're going to fundamentally challenge how we think about safety boundaries. See, every single organization out there actually has two distinct perimeters. We almost always obsess over the first one, but as you'll see, it's that second perimeter where the real unpredictability lies. So let's jump right in and look at what that actually means. Take a look at the stark contrast between these two environments. On the left, we've got perimeter one, the building. This is the physical structure, right? The office, the facility. It's the literal four walls with access badges, security cameras, the turnstiles. It's a highly controlled environment. But then, on the right, you have perimeter two, the journey. This is absolutely everything your people have to walk through just to reach that front door. We're talking crowded transit hubs, busy city streets, maybe sketchy public parking structures, crosswalks, the whole shebang. This second perimeter is vast, it's totally dynamic, and here's the real kicker. It is so incredibly often overlooked when organizations put together their safety strategies. And that massive blind spot is exactly why Dsrm exists. Their entire core mission is built around making that second perimeter visible and, crucially, manageable. Because, let's be real, if you can't see the risks in a daily commute, you definitely can't manage them. Think of them as a lens. They illuminate those hidden threats lurking in that external journey. They give organizations actual control and foresight over a space that, honestly, most leaders just assume is entirely out of their hands.
So how do you actually gain control over a chaotic public space? Well, Dsrm breaks this down into two incredibly proactive steps. Step one, evaluate movement. They start by mapping how people actually move through the spaces your organization depends on. Notice I said actually move. They aren't looking at how some idealized company policy says employees should travel. No, they're mapping the messy, real-world reality on the ground. Then, once that real-world movement is mapped out, we hit step two, assess threats. This is where they pinpoint exactly where genuine risk sits inside that specific pathway. And the best part? They do it before it ever becomes an incident. It's a deeply proactive, preventative strategy.
To pull this off effectively, though, we really have to understand the difference between just raw information and actual intelligence. Take standard data types, like raw crime statistics or substance abuse risk. I mean, anyone can go download a spreadsheet of local crime stats, right? But normally, it's just noise. Dsrm takes that raw crime and incident data and transforms it into actionable evidence. It magically becomes information you can actually make real decisions on. Plus, when they look at substance abuse risk, they don't just hand you some generic off-the-shelf template. They assess that risk specifically against your industry and your unique organizational exposure. It's perfectly tailored to your reality. Now, when we're talking about really sensitive human threats, like the risk of sexual violence, you absolutely need a clinical approach. That's where Dsrm brings in their behavioral risk briefings. These briefings are strictly grounded in actual offender behavior and victim selection research. Think about what a massive departure that is from the norm. This goes way beyond that standard passive harassment compliance training we've all sat through. Those boring check-the-box videos? Yeah, instead of that, this is a rigorous, behavioral-focused education that looks directly at the pure mechanics of the threat itself. Building directly on that foundation is what they call offender pattern intelligence. And listen, this isn't just a one-off seminar that your team is going to forget about a week later. Dsrm provides ongoing monthly intelligence, briefing clients on exactly how offenders operate and really digging into their target selection methods. The ultimate goal here is pure, practical awareness. By teaching your people exactly how these patterns work, they learn exactly what to watch out for during their commute and that second perimeter. You are essentially arming your people with high-level observational skills. It's a real game changer.
This all brings the explainer's narrative full circle, and it's captured perfectly by a core principle of Dsrm's methodology. The quote goes, "Risk doesn't stop at your door, it accumulates in the corridor." Take a second to just really process that imagery. The corridor in this context is that transitional space. It's that gap between the environments your organization firmly controls and the ones it just doesn't. We so often assume that the second someone leaves the building, our risk drops to zero. But this perfectly illustrates that the risk is actually compounding right outside. In those spaces your people are forced to navigate every single day. So after exploring all this methodology today, I want to leave you with a final, really provocative question about your duty of care. If you are responsible for people in spaces you don't control, shouldn't we talk? I love that. It's a brilliant challenge to the traditional boundaries of leadership and safety. Because if you are responsible for the well-being of people whose journeys take them through unpredictable environments, then understanding and managing that second perimeter isn't just a nice little perk, it's an absolute necessity. If this reframes how you view your organization's physical footprint, then reaching out to DSRM risk and crisis management consultants is for sure your clear next step to take control of that journey. Stay safe out there.